So according to Cathie Wood, her reasoning to why Bitcoin will soon be a $10 trillion industry is due to mass institutional adoption. Okay, so she thinks that all of this money from these big Wall Street banks, hedge funds, ETFs, and everything in between will eventually come in, and that will drive up the price to $500,000 per Bitcoin, which is crazy. But if you look at the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, that's down 40% from its all-time high. So that is proof that you don't have mass institutional adoption, because these institutions would probably rather buy into the trust instead of holding Bitcoin itself. But also, if you look at these Bitcoin futures ETFs, well, they're all losing money. And to state the obvious, Bitcoin itself is also down somewhere around 65 to 70% from its all-time highs. And if you look at Cathie Woods' portfolio, all of her ETFs have also crashed. The ARK Innovations ETF, which I think is her most popular, that's down 70%, so it's on par with Bitcoin's losses. And as for ETFs, well, they aren't supposed to drop 70%, so you probably shouldn't invest into her ARK investment funds. The whole point of ETF investing is to diversify so that if one of the companies in that ETF fails or goes bankrupt, then the other companies in the ETF will balance out the losses. And if the ETF is being properly managed, then being heavily diversified, you would expect that the top holdings in the ETF would be allocated to highly profitable companies, and then some of the smaller holdings might be a little bit more speculative. But the majority of the companies in the ARK fund ETFs, well, they're all money losing companies that have never turned a profit. And she actually launched a new ETF called the Transparency ETF. So I'm not sure what that means, but hopefully she's transparent about how risky her investing strategy is. And if this Transparency ETF is anything like any of her other ETFs, then don't go anywhere near it. And it's funny to listen to Cathie Wood explain to her CNBC audience why these tech stocks and these artificial intelligence companies that she's buying into for her ETFs are so expensive, since they are unprofitable, money-losing companies. But according to her, they aren't expensive, and they are actually trading at a discount, even though their price to earnings are on another planet. She says that even though these companies have no earnings now, after her special and innovative analysis, she's expecting them to be very profitable soon, and that will bring the price to earnings a little closer to earth. But you know, no one can predict a company's future earnings, especially if it's never turned a profit. If you have a company that's losing a bunch of money, how would you know if it will ever make money? You don't know. Nobody knows. Especially not Cathie Wood. She can only hope that they will make money. But I first heard of Cathie Wood and the ARK Innovative ETF back in early 2020, when the price was around $35. Then during the pandemic, as everyone was sitting around gambling off their Robinhood apps, it then skyrocketed to $157. So it pretty much went up fivefold before dropping 70% to where it's at now. But the reason so much hype surrounded Cathie Wood is not because of her investing strategy, it's because she's a woman in a male-dominated industry. That's why mainstream media praised her as if she was the next Warren Buffett. And she actually believed in her own hype, but her bubble was about to pop, because anyone who has invested into her ETFs from around June 2020 till now, well, they are all losing money, unless they were smart enough to dump at the peak of the pump, which was in early 2021. But it's this next goof who really takes the cake when it comes to Bitcoin pumping. And if you thought that Cathie Woods' $10 trillion price prediction for Bitcoin was wild, well, according to Michael the Silly Saylor, Bitcoin will surpass $100 trillion. But that's actually not the craziest thing that he said about Bitcoin. He actually believes that Bitcoin's price will keep going up forever. ever. Imagine that. So he thinks that Bitcoin will be worth 20 times more the market valuation of Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, and Tesla combined. This guy has completely lost his marbles, and he keeps saying the craziest stuff like Bitcoin is the only property we need, so there is no need for real estate anymore because we have Bitcoin. I sometimes can't believe what I'm hearing from these Bitcoin gurus because that's ridiculous. Does this guy not understand that we need a place to live and that real estate is real property? That's why it's called real estate. It's real, it's tangible, it's a physical asset, and Bitcoin has no physical properties. But Michael, the silly sailor, thinks that it does. He thinks that you can live in Bitcoin the same way that you can live in a house. And as you'd expect, much like all these other Bitcoin gurus, he also says crazy things about gold and how it's trash according to him. Okay, now the total value of all gold that has ever been mined is estimated to be somewhere around $10 trillion. And this is some of the crazy stuff that Michael the silly sailor keeps saying. He said that it should all be gathered up and dumped because you can't do anything with it. It's worthless, he says. I mean, come on. Don't dump it, Michael, you crazy man. I'll use it, and since you don't like real estate either, I'll build myself a house from solid gold just to prove to you that gold has utility. So give it to me, don't dump it. And if I'm strapped for cash, I can also sell some of that gold to Apple, Microsoft, and Tesla for their chip manufacturing. And I'm pretty sure that Rolex will take some off my hands too, because they love the stuff. So don't dump your gold. Just give it to me, I'll do something with it.
Which one's the best crypto asset? Well, Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Okay, what's the second best? There is no second best. There's no second best crypto asset. There's a crypto asset, it's called Bitcoin, right? Right? There's no second best, okay? But take all your money, buy Bitcoin, then take all your time, figure out how to borrow more money to buy more Bitcoin, then take all your time and figure out what you can sell to buy Bitcoin. And if you absolutely love the thing that you don't want to sell it, go mortgage your house and buy Bitcoin with it. And if you've got a business that you love because your family works for the business, it's in your family for 37 years, and you can't bear to sell it, mortgage it, finance it, and convert the proceeds into the hardest money on earth, which is Bitcoin.